Ladies and gentlemen, New York State Senate has just passed a bill to essentially remove Andrew Cuomo's authority over the people of New York, extrajudicial authority, and ability to circumvent the state legislature. It has taken this long for them to actually hold him accountable. They blamed every life lost on Trump, even though there's a federal government and a state government. You are governed more so by your mayor and governor than you are by the president, unless the president engages in foreign policy like President Obama or especially Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld's foreign policy. Unless the president sends Americans off to never-ending conflict or creates this quagmire overseas, which is what Trump's predecessors did. You're governed primarily by your state government, okay? We have a federal government and a state government. When people blame President Trump and they're taking that shot in the arm, that happened all under President Trump's administration. When they blame Trump, they were ignoring the fact that you have Whitmer now being investigated, or calls for her to be investigated in Michigan. You have Cuomo, whose horrendous decision-making that I talked about throughout the past year. I mean, this is a person, they make a big deal out of President Trump tweeting, okay, we will take care of this. It'll be manageable. Cuomo said worse. He tweeted out on March 1st, there's no need for undue anxiety. The risk to the people of the risk remains minimal. What did he tweet out? So tweet March risk. So here he sent this out on March 1st. This is now, we're not even getting to the elderly homes and his horrible decision making there. We have looked it up. There is no reason for undue anxiety. This is March 1st, 2020. New York, unfortunately, has had the worst outcomes. So Democrats have presided over the worst outcomes. The top 4 states in terms of per capita rates are Democratic run. Blue states, according to the New York Times. 6 to 7 of the top 10 aggregate, 7 of the top 11 states with the most lives lost, aggregate lives lost, are Democratic-run states, according to the New York Times statistics. But Andrew Cuomo, there's no reason for undue anxiety. The general risk remains low in New York. How did this man write a book on leadership lessons? So hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'll be having a live stream later this evening at around 10 p.m. Pacific, and I'll have an upload before then, probably around 8 p.m. Pacific. But how on earth did this man publish a book on leadership lessons? And I've been talking about this for a long time. Like, how do you focus on Trump when you have the Lincoln Project in your midst? The Lincoln Project, Andrew Cuomo, and then we haven't even gotten to the allegations. Then there's the Democratic Party math, the calculus. Well, Trump has 25 people, yeah, and Biden has 13 people, and a criminal and a report, a police report. Was there a police report? Was there a police report with Trump? No, there wasn't. There was with President Biden, Prince Valium. So, they have this calculus in their head. Well, Trump presided over more lives lost. Well, no, most of them are in Democratic-run states. It's the New York Times statistics. You can look at the New York Times statistics. I'm not making anything up. You can look. Let's see. I took a screenshot the other day. This is a couple of days ago. Okay, New York Times statistics. Let's look at the New York Times statistics. New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, the top 1, 2, 3, 4 highest per capita rates in the country. And Democrats pontificate the most. Then you have, in terms of aggregate lives lost, and there's nothing gleeful here. This shouldn't be a blue or red state issue. But you better believe, if there's a conservative who loses his or her life during this whole thing, they say, aha, he didn't do or she didn't do what we told him to do. Aha, you see? It's like, well, you're presiding over the worst outcomes. So tell me how you have Andrew Cuomo, you have Whitmer, you have Pritzker, you have all of these, you have Murphy, Phil Murphy, could be even worse than Andrew Cuomo. How on earth, and God bless the people of New Jersey and New York, only the best people live in New Jersey and New York. How on earth were you able to stand your governor, or how has there not been investigations on Murphy in New Jersey? He might be even worse than Cuomo. But here, California, New York, and then it's Texas and Florida, but the per capita rates are far lower in Texas and Florida, and Texas and Florida have more people than New York and New Jersey. Then it's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Illinois. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. 5 of the top 7, and 7 of the top 11. You add Michigan and Massachusetts. That's Democratic-run states. This is according to the New York Times. Hit subscribe to this channel. The best thing you could do for this channel and my voice is just to hit subscribe, share these segments, go to my live stream, or be on my live streams this evening, later tonight by around 10 p.m. or so. And if you want to support my voice long-term, my Patreon is below. Your support to my new patrons, thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated, especially in this time. I mean, it's so difficult. I'm so long-winded because I can't talk about, like, I have to say lives lost. I have to say, of course, the pandemic. I have to say horrendous decision-makings by Cuomo in elderly care facilities. I have to go ahead and you can look at the per capita rates. I mean, that is actually, I'm not really going out of my way. But in terms of foreign policy, I can't say President Biden engaged in a certain type of foreign policy tactic. I have to say, well, he engaged in a miserably failed foreign policy tactic that his predecessors had also engaged in, the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld and President Obama's smart power type of foreign policy. It took him about a month. I can't talk about the Lincoln Project controversies and scandals because they're so horrendous, they don't abide by YouTube policies. Neither do Andrew Cuomo's, the allegations leveled against him by numerous individuals, 3 so far. And the rebuttal from one lady at The View and others is, well, Trump is worse. Well, who cares? First of all, the left sets the guidelines and the rules on how politics or how life is supposed to be lived. They told Kavanaugh he had to resign with one allegation. President Biden had an actual police report. So you know that hot mic that it's part of like their consciousness. Trump's hot mic was very bizarre, but it wasn't a police report. Again, hot mic, police report. Gee, which do you think wonderful, morally superior, apoplectic liberals would care about more? Of course, the hot mic. It wasn't a deposition. He admitted to it. Well, then why isn't he in jail? What? But see, why wasn't there a police report filed? Why wasn't there a police report filed against Kavanaugh? Again, when you make allegations, and the second, and what they did to Tara Reade, they did not do to anyone going up against Kavanaugh or Trump. The hypocrisy on anyone, look what they did to, I mean, you have so many examples. Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. It's never believe when it's an allegation leveled against a Democrat. It's never an allegation when it's here. Hold on. The Attorney General. Let's see. What's wrong here? Keith Ellison was also accused. Okay, do you think that his accuser or Biden's or the Lieutenant General of Virginia, or do you think they're treated in the same manner as Kavanaugh's? No, because Democrats, generally, many apoplectic, morally superior liberals are hypocrites. They engage in the most duplicitous and disingenuous type of behavior. They utilize the suffering of others for political gain, and they mitigate and try to erase any controversies that they're engulfed within. And then they say, well, they preach and pontificate and give these sermons on morality, but they don't live the life that they preach. They don't live based on these codes, this ethical code that they claim to uphold, or that they claim others should uphold. And it's just unbelievable. Like you see them engaging in the most absurd, nonsensical accusations. If it's a baseless claim made against President Biden, where's the evidence? If it's, Trump worked with Russia, well, we know this from a Senate panel that confirmed an opinion. The GOP Senate panel confirmed an assessment based on high to moderate confidence. That was not a fact. That was an assessment based on high to moderate confidence. And now you have CNN, and it's like you don't have any moral standard. It's just always this absurd Clintonian calculus. Well, more people. Well, you don't believe this allegation. You believe that one. Let's just look really quickly at the CNN. So he doesn't have the same powers. New York State passes bill to repeal Cuomo's executive powers. And that's huge. I mean, impeachment, resignation, eventually, look, you have three people. You never had any. It's interesting. The duplicity is unbelievable, but New York State Senate passes a bill to repeal Cuomo's emergency power. The New York State Senate passed a bill to repeal Governor Andrew Cuomo's expanded executive powers Friday. And that's huge. It's huge because it's one step closer to finally making it official. He'll either lose to somebody else for governor next year, or more scandals and controversies will come up. And they're still investigating the extent of how many lives were lost. Like, directly, he's linked to the lives of thousands upon thousands of New Yorkers who were sent into these facilities. Why would you do that? You can't. You are in New York and other Democratic-run states or cities. You can't eat indoors, but you can go ahead and the governor can send infected people into elderly homes. And now you have you have Ron Kim in New York, a very courageous Democrat going after Cuomo. And they went after Trump. But see, the thing is, media scrutinizes Trump. The average person doesn't really watch this channel, doesn't really know what's going on. They just see that Trump is just horrible and a menace. They're not really looking at what's taking place with Cuomo and Phil Murphy and Whitmer. They're not really looking at that. And their world is every single late night talk show, everywhere they turn, Trump is a monster. The fact that he got 74 million Americans is a testament to A, how vapid the propaganda is, but mainly that's B. A is how many achievements he was able to accomplish. President Trump accomplished great things. He accomplished great things. Abraham Accords, peace, beginning of peace between North and South Korea. The administrations in those respective countries want Trump want Biden to continue Trump's foreign policy for a reason. We had record low unemployment throughout most of his tenure. So he was able to do great things. His Twitter presence, unfortunately, overshadowed all of that. But you look, I mean, they propped up Cuomo. He had a book on leadership lessons, okay? And the left is now not only eating its own, it created this dystopian, pseudo-moral, pseudo-reality, cyber reality, okay, where allegations without evidence against Trump must be believed, but allegations without evidence against President Biden should never be believed. You must demand absolute proof. And if you live your life based on condemnation and judgment of others, you're basically today's televangelist. The left is composed of what used to be the 80s televangelists, except their morality is derived from cyberspace and cyber bullying. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back later this evening and then later tonight with the live stream. So Andrew Cuomo is on his way to getting impeached or resigning. Or best case scenario for him, just losing the race for governor. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.